Good afternoon, folks. Brad here, Geomagnetic Earthwatch on Saturday, January 14, 2023 on our planet. So in today's discussion and tour, I'll be using my province of British Columbia, Western Canada, as an example for two reasons. First, as I've stated in the video some time ago, when you're considering different areas to relocate to with regard to the magnetic excursion and how Earth will be responding, I said you need to do your own geological survey of that region to make sure you're not going to be near any volcanoes or volcanic fields which will be reactivated along the coast of British Columbia, of which there are many, and I will go through a few of them. The second reason of this video is, and as I've stated a long time ago, Earth will first be responding and showing us indications where the crust is thinnest at the ocean floors, average of 6 kilometers thick. The ocean floors which are littered with undersea mounts. Tomorrow, in fact, being the 1-year anniversary of the Honga Tonga Honga Haipai eruption in Tonga, January 15th of last year. Second, I'm expecting to see responses along subduction zone volcanoes. Third, I would expect to see responses along coastal ranges, of which contain many volcanoes. The Cascadia Range is actually a volcanic range which starts from Northern California, runs through Oregon, Washington, and terminates at British Columbia at the Garibaldi volcanic complex, which I'll get into at the end of this tour. So first, where the crust is thinnest. Next, at the continental shelf, subduction zones. Third, coastal ranges. So one example is Mount Edgecombe. Now, this section here is actually the territory of the United States. We're just letting you use it. The rest is all Canada. No disrespect intended. Anyway, Mount Edgecombe, the territory of the United States, is actually part of Alaska. They issued a warning late last year of the possibility of an eruption of this volcano when they found the intrusion of magma running into the bottom of this volcano. There are some towns or settlements somewhere in this region, and they had to issue a warning to those areas, those populations. Now, if you remember my earthquake report of yesterday, we have a migration of earthquakes running right into this volcano here. Obviously, an intrusion of magma running into the bottom of Mount Edgecombe. So this is one example of a subduction zone volcano. Now I'm going to break off in a minute and just go to a video here. Now, this video credit goes to George Gregorio. He does very good videos. I like his videos. A lot of people will use his videos but don't give him credit. I do. Frank Gregorio. This is his video. So the Pacific plate at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, the Pacific plate subducting underneath the continental plate. Now, let's just try to imagine this being the British Columbia coastal range. At the plate interface, the gap in between the Pacific plate and the continental plate, we can have the escape of heat and magma rising. So the heat will rise, finding its orifices to the subduction zone volcanoes and coastal ranges. And of course, the end result is going to be or volcanoes being set off along the subduction zone. So again, Mount Edgecombe subduction zone. I will show you another example. In fact, it's directly in line from Mount Edgecombe, and that is Mount Priestley, which has a very, very recent geological history. Approximately 400 years ago, a massive eruption of this volcano, Mount Priestley, which was during the last grand solar minimum period, the Maunder minimum. Mount Priestley. And of course, this is all the volcanic region with cinder cones, for example. Lava Lake. And there are a great many others. I'm just going to go through a few of them. Let's see. Hududu Mountain, a little bit to the northeast. So another large volcano. And again, when people visualize the coastal range of British Columbia and all the pretty snow-covered mountains, they don't realize that many of them are volcanoes. Now, many of these areas you wouldn't think of relocating to being so remote. And again, I'm just showing you some examples. If you are thinking about perhaps any coastal areas. Now, for other reasons, of course, you don't want to be on the coast. See if I can find you. One moment, please. So this one is the Millbank Sound Group volcano, right on the coast. You wouldn't think of it, would you? So I'm going to show you just one more. One moment, please. Here we go. So Nadina Mountain outside of Smithers, Kitimat area. I've actually had some people message me. I drive by this mountain for the past 20 years. I had no idea it was a volcano. Indeed it is. In fact, it's a group of volcanoes comprising Nadina Mountain. And people just don't realize. Crater. And in fact, over the past few years, as I monitor for heat signatures in my province, periodically I will do see some in this area. So again, you do your own survey. If you were thinking of this area, for example, I would think twice. Now, let's carry on to a closer to a more heavily populated area on the outskirts of Vancouver, British Columbia. The Garibaldi Volcanic Complex, which is, I believe, the termination point of the Cascadia Range. So Vancouver being right here, and Garibaldi Provincial Park, which is a very popular weekend getaway destination, is an actual volcano. Surrounded by other volcanoes and cones that many people don't realize. Let's do a little tour. Castle Towers Mountain is another one, volcano. Mount Price, volcano. The Table, volcano. Garibaldi Mountain, Open Cold, Opal Cone. The Table, Mount Price, volcano. The Black Tusk, I like this one. And people have no idea. So when someone says the, for example, Campi Flegra scares the bejesus out of him, well, you know what? It's over 5 million people a short distance from Mount Garibaldi in Vancouver. I'll do one more, which is Mount Meagher on the outskirts of Whistler, a popular ski resort. Mount Meagher has been outgassing. They have a number of monitors and sensors on Mount Meagher because of its periodically inflation and outgassing. And again, this is on the outskirts of Pemberton, which is on the outskirts of Whistler, not far from Vancouver. So folks, when you're looking to relocate out of the big cities, you need to do a very thorough review of whatever area you're considering. My area, for example, the Okanagan region, is a volcanic complex. Very, very soon I need to be getting the heck out of here, perhaps into the Rocky Mountain Range. Not VAP, not Banff. It's too popular, and that is another volcanic region. Perhaps on the side of the Rocky Mountains, higher elevation. There you have it. A brief tour of my province, British Columbia. Where not to go. First, where the crust is thinnest. Second, where the crust subducts underneath the continental plate. Subduction volcanoes. Third, coastal ranges, in that order. We are already starting to see the responses here. Aside from the active volcanoes, the heat signatures detections that I report on daily. Second, we are beginning to see some responses on subduction volcanoes. Mount Edgecumbe volcano. I hope you enjoyed this tour this morning. And until my next video, you have a nice weekend.